This happens to people when there's an energetic connection, when there's a strong tie between the two of you. You can be anywhere in the world and you can feel the distress, you can feel the relief, you can feel these things. Welcome to the Tie-Dyed Therapist. I'm your host, Richard Killian. Today I would like to talk about something that I don't think I ever hear other therapists talk about, but I'm sure it does happen in their sessions. And that's the subject of energetic connections, particularly when there's been a death. Here's what I mean. Suppose that you have somebody in your life that you're very attached to, that you love a lot, and they die. People go through all kinds of things during the grief process, but something that often happens for people that they sometimes never admit, or at least they only admit to a therapist, is that the day of the death, sometimes people experience a lot of personal distress going on inside their body. And at times, they feel very uncomfortable, they feel very unsettled during the day of somebody's dying. And then there's a wave of relief that happens. And this wave of relief kind of comes suddenly. It comes without much warning. And then the person finds out that indeed the person that they were concerned about died. That happened to me about 30 years ago with my own father. The day that he died, he was in a nursing home and he was several states away from where I was. And that day I didn't have any contact with him or my mother, and yet I remember it was a Saturday, and yet I was so unsettled that day. I will never forget it. I did feel distress. I did feel an uncomfortableness. I spent a lot of time trying to keep myself occupied that day because I just couldn't pinpoint what was going on inside of me. This lasted the entire day. That night I decided to go out, and around 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, I felt this wave come over me. It was a wave of relief. And I didn't understand what that was about. When I got home later that night and I checked my answering machine, I noted that about 9:30, 9:45, my mother had called to leave me a message letting me know that my father had passed. And then suddenly it made sense. I've actually had clients tell me very similar stories. And the question they always ask me is, am I crazy? Am I crazy for thinking that? Am I crazy that that happened to me? And I can just tell you unequivocally, no, you're not crazy. This happens to people when there's an energetic connection, when there's a strong tie between the two of you. You can be anywhere in the world and you can feel the distress, you can feel the relief, you can feel these things. People can feel them with their loved ones, they can feel them with their pets. All kinds of stories like that have occurred. Now, I can't pretend to know a lot about how energetics work, but I do know just from my own personal experience and from the experience of clients that this does indeed happen. So I'd love to hear about your stories. If you have anything that you'd care to share online, please leave a comment in the comments section and we'll go from there. But that's what I want to leave you with today. Thank you very much.